the Denver Broncos could ship off a surprise trade candidate during training camp. At least that's what this one outlet says. But before we talk about that, guys, I want to shout out the affiliate partner for today's video, Green Gridiron Helmets. Use code DENSYN, DENSYN, link in the description below to save off your first purchase on authentic NFL helmets. From small replicas like this one behind me to full-size authentic helmets, they've got it all. Again, that is code DENSYN, DENSYN, link in the description below to save off your first purchase from Green Gridiron Helmets. Thank you so much to them. And now back to your regularly scheduled programming. I want to go ahead and bring in this article that is making its rounds across Broncos country this morning. It's from everybody's favorite outlet, Pro Football Focus. I like to say this pretty much every time we deal with PFF content. I think that their data collection, their data based on film, is overall good. Their player grades are a little bit questionable because they're fudged numbers, and these articles like this are very questionable in my opinion because PFF fails to separate the individual who wrote the article from their entire outlet as a whole. They make it seem like these opinions reflect every single person who works for PFF, even though that's hundreds of people and that's literally impossible. NFL Network, ESPN, they make sure that all of these articles are stated as strictly the opinion of the person who wrote it, and PFF just doesn't do that. I want to go ahead and bring in this piece here from this article where PFF is saying that Riley Moss could be on the trade block for the Broncos. That has been making its rounds across Broncos Twitter this morning in a clip from Sleeper NFL. And I wanted to go back and see what PFF actually had to say to justify this, so I went and dug up the article. The Broncos have spent a significant portion of their offseason assets bolstering one of the NFL's best defenses from a year ago, including drafting cornerback Jahdae Barron in the first round of the draft. That could leave a player like Moss on the block. In his first season as a starter, Moss produced a 56.0 PFF coverage grade with a 57.8 overall grade. Still, the Iowa product turned heads early in the year, securing 3 single-game 72.0 plus PFF coverage grades in the first 5 contests of 2024. How Denver configures its secondary will be telling for Moss's outlook. The Broncos figure to have two good inside options in Barron and Jaquan McMillan, but will the Texas rookie man the outside cornerback 2 spot next to the reigning Defensive Player of the Year Pat Surtain? Denver may retain the 25-year-old Moss as depth, but if his role is constricted, other teams could come calling. Man, this is spoken like somebody who doesn't watch the Broncos, has no clue what's going on here in Denver. I don't even know where to begin with this. First of all, there's no mention whatsoever that Riley Moss had an MCL sprain, and that was one of the main reasons why he played so poorly. Additionally, the game that everybody craps on him for is that Cincinnati Bengals game. He was going up against T. Higgins one-on-one, mano-a-mano. T. Higgins on any other team in the NFL would be a wide receiver 1. He just so happens to play on the same team as Jamar Chase. So, for me, that's not a game that you can sit here and fairly assess. Riley Moss didn't play well in that game. I'm not going to sit here and say that he did. But you can't sit here and say that he sucks or that he's not good anymore because of that. He honestly came back a little bit too early from that injury. It was pretty clear that his athleticism, his burst, his explosiveness was not the same coming back from that MCL sprain. And you got to remember, he's a corner. He has to backpedal. That's even harder when you have an MCL sprain. So, Riley Moss's final games of the season, I almost feel like you can throw them out because they aren't real tape that evaluates how Riley Moss actually performed last year when he was healthy and not dealing with an MCL sprain. So that's just my first opinion on this. Second of all, if you've actually been out at training camp, or even if you've just listened to the way that the Broncos have talked, they have a clear vision for Barron as their starting nickel corner. This is 2025, folks. This isn't 2005. There aren't 2 starting corners anymore. There are 3. That's because the NFL's base defense is nickel defense. It's not 4-3, 3-4 anymore. Don't get me wrong, teams still get into those looks, especially on early downs, but with offenses playing with 3 wide receiver sets all the time, the base defense in the NFL is nickel defense. That means you need 3 starting caliber corners, and you need one of them who's really good on the inside. They did mention Jaquan McMillan here. McMillan had an up and down season last year. He had some flashes of brilliance, obviously in the Cleveland Browns game, but also had some games like the Indianapolis game and the Buffalo game where he really struggled. The Broncos were going to initially go into this season with McMillan as their starting corner. But then things changed because a top 10 graded overall player on their draft board fell to them with the 20th overall pick in Jahdae Barron. Now, they were able to get an upgrade at that nickel spot. Yes, there will be some packages when the Broncos get into base defense, which will mostly be on early downs, where Jahdae Barron will play on the boundary on the outside. We saw that in training camp. But more often than not, the Broncos are going to be a nickel defense, and when that happens, it's going to be PS2 and Riley Moss on the outside on the boundary, and then it's going to be Jahdae Barron inside at nickel. Jaquan McMillan has been competing his ass off in training camp, but he's still on the outside looking in terms of the starting lineup. This is very lazy analysis, in my opinion, by the person who wrote this article here at PFF, and Benjamin Albright made it perfectly clear. This is the tweet that was initially making rounds here in Broncos country, by the way. For those asking, Moss is not, nor has he been, a trade candidate for the Broncos. So there you go. I don't see any scenario whatsoever where Riley Moss isn't a starter for this team. Hell, maybe in certain packages they want to move Moss inside at nickel and then kick out Jahdae Barron to the outside. That's very possible, but Riley Moss is not going to be a backup player for this team, and he sure as hell isn't a trade candidate. This article is absolutely ridiculous. I didn't even want to address it, but it's going around and making its rounds here in Broncos country. I thought I might as well address it, but yeah, man, absolutely ridiculous. Alright, Broncos country, be sure to leave a like on this video as well as subscribe and ring the bell so these videos appear in your notification feed. I would really appreciate it, guys. Those are both free and easy ways to show your support, helps tell YouTube's algorithm to push us out, and it helps us get seen by more and more members of Broncos country just like you and me. And before we get out of here, guys, I wanted to shout out our 2 Hall of Fame channel members for the channel. Let's go ahead and bring that in. Safe Shield Security and John Dobbs. If you guys are interested in becoming a channel member, please click the link in the description below. You can go above and beyond in supporting the channel and helping improve the production quality of these videos. I would really appreciate if you would consider it. And until next time, guys, I'm your host, Gage Madrid, saying peace out.